All right, I am now live. This is going to be a little shorter video. This is just a little quick course introduction with some course info. I decided we should split up the videos so we're not going everything at one video where we're just going bang, 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 going through stuff like that. So for a major, I think we should split it up a little bit. So for this one, we decided to test it. Since we don't have any more majors, we're going to test this process of making little individual videos here. So, and my videos aren't monetized, so it's not like I'm trying to do it for money or anything like that. Like there's no advertisements. I'm not making anything. It's just easier for the consumer, you guys, and even for myself making them. So, let's get right into a basic course introduction here. So we have this week. It's not the Wells Fargo Championship, but this is the same course. I should probably switch down to 2016 here. At Quail Hollow Club here is the annual host of the Wells Fargo Championship. This year they didn't host the Wells Fargo Championship because it was held in Wilmington, so they could prepare for the PGA Championship, which is being held obviously in Quail Hollow. So a couple of discrepancies to get into right off the bat. The course has been changed, not drastically. About 15% of the course has been adjusted, and it is no longer a par 72, as you see here. It is actually a par 71, and it's a little longer than it used to be. It's now 7,600 yards. It's a par 71, 7,600 yards. I have a few websites up here. Let me just make sure my site is sharing. Yes, okay, so it should be good. Not that one. So we have a little information. I posted the links in the description of the YouTube video. These are all the sites I'm looking at. It just gives me, I don't want to read off anything specifically to you guys just because it's just not auto-tone, but just monotone. I don't want to just read it as you guys can read it yourself, but the links are in the description. So if you do need to check those out, I highly suggest doing so. This is just a little breakdown of, first, there's new grass on the course. I'll bring that up. So they used to play on ryegrass, but now it's been moved to Bermuda grass. So I do need to shout out. I'm not going to get into DK plays as of right now until tonight, but I will say this. If you use fantasynational.com, which everyone should be doing, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. And switch it to Bermuda grass. I mean, do all types of research that you want to do. I like to switch it to Bermuda grass just to see guys that play better on Bermuda grass. And if you take off Bermuda grass, let me load my view real quick. Those are stats I'm looking at, by the way, but we'll get into that all later. But you can change it by all types of stuff going on. So the green should be firm if you want to deal with that. I'm still in the beginning process, but yeah. So let's get actually into the course here. So hole number 1 and 2 have been combined into a long par 4. 524 yard hole number 1. It is said to be, let's see here. Let me scroll up. This is the site. This is one of my favorites that I have found so far. It's the longest opening par 4 in major championship golf. As you can see here, as I just mentioned, it weaved together the first and the second hole. It's a dog leg as well, so that means you pretty much it's almost a blind tee shot. Ball strikers, accuracy guys on this hole should do better. But overall, as it is a 7,600 yard par 71, it seems that guys that drive over 300 or just bombers in general should do better. But the fairways are still very narrow, very hard to hit. So guys like, I don't want to get into the DK plays yet to confuse anyone, but guys like Tony Finau at 7K are going to be chalk just because he can hit the ball really far and he keeps it straight. So guys like that should, quote unquote, should do well. So the par 4, as you can see, 524 yards for a par 4. I did read a little piece. It wasn't on this website. I can't recall where I read it, but it says that if you hit the ball over the green or it rolls off the green, you're looking at a double bogey or worse. The putting surface is very hard to get to if you miss the green over the green. So that first hole could kind of tell how your guys are looking for the day. If they're in tip-top shape, they should birdie or at least par this hole. But bogeys are expected, and this is one of the changes they made to certify the major. Like, this is why it's a major. They weren't going to play the regular Wells Fargo course for a major event where the best golfers in the world are coming, while last year and the years before the Wells Fargo Championship, best golfers are not there, minus maybe DJ, who likes to show up because he's a Coastal Carolina guy. He likes the coast over in North and South Carolina, so he generally shows up there. If anyone's in here, I'm pretty sure I am live. I know I didn't give any acknowledgement that I was going to be making this. I do have 3 viewers, so I see I am live, but if you want to chop up anything in the chat while I am live, I can do that. If you are a member of the Facebook VIP and the DFS Sweatshop in general, then I can always answer any questions you guys have in there at any time. So let's get back into it. So we're looking at that. After the first hole, we don't have many. I mean, after the first few holes, we don't have many adjusted holes. Like, the back 9 is pretty much the same. But so I will go into these 3 important ones right here. So the par 4 452-yard second hole used to be the third hole. As I just mentioned, they combined the first and the second to create that dog leg, the sweeping dog leg, which just means you can't see the hole. You can't see the entire hole. Like, it's not a full vantage point. You're gonna have to hit a tee shot and hit that tee shot, and then if you hit that tee shot well, then you'll be able to approach the hole. You'll be able to hit the pin. So until then, or I don't know why I said until then, but for now, let's look at the next hole here. So excuse me, this is also a dog leg made to create or to toughen the course to make it harder for these golfers. And I will say, before I get in any further, Jimmy Walker, a past winner at the PGA Championship last year, said just yesterday that he's expecting the winning score to be below -10, below 10 under. So if we look at past results, so 2 under, 1 under, 4 under, and 2 under. So 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, the winning score was 9 under in 2016, and that was a par 72. So it's different. It's tough to look at because the yardage is different. You don't know how guys are going to play. But if you keep going back, this Rory McIlroy, by the way, has the course, since I looked at this in 2015, has the course record for the lowest score, 61. I don't think anyone's even come close. That's 11 under, by the way. In one round, this man went 11 under. So he's obviously going to be chalk this week. We don't need to get into that right now. We'll definitely get into that later. But wrong one. So let's get back into. I'm not going to go into all the holes. So this isn't going to be a super long video. I'm just going over the ones that have been changed or modified that not everyone knows about. You just think, oh, let's look at course history because it's the same courses they always play. Well, no, that's not true. They made it a lot harder. They changed the grass completely. They used to use ryegrass, as I mentioned. Now it is Bermuda grass. Some of the Europeans who play on Bermuda grass, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. I did show just then, but if you look here, you click Bermuda, load my view. These are my stats, so I'm just going to load it up. Bermuda grass, if you scroll by the strokes gained putting on Bermuda grass, you're going to see a bunch of Euro guys. Let's let it load up here. I do have some a lot of tabs open with some wireless. I'm using wireless internet, not wired, so it is going to be a little slower. But until it loads up, let me go back and talk about the second hole again. You're going to need a tee shot from about 275 to above 300. This is why bombers should do well. You can't spray it, though. You can't just hit it long and spray. You're going to have to be accurate. So guys, like I mentioned, Finau should do well, and that's why they're chalk at only 7K, because people understand that the narrative or the so-called way to go or the golfers that will do best are the guys that will keep it straight and hit it long. Guys like Matt Kuchar, who have always been in consideration, always up top, 55-1 this week. I mean, this guy's usually what, 20, like 33, 40-1. Matt Kuchar is not really the longest hitter. Not going to get you those eagles on par fives. Not going to get you those birdies. There are a lot of pricing discrepancies, and there has been some heavy Vegas line movement. I will talk about that at the end of the video because we'll sprinkle that in as in the DFS plays as well. But I don't want to convolute too much into one video. So ACP and I later will mainly just focus on straight DFS plays, the guys we like. But with the Vegas odd movement, you're gonna see a lot of guys below 8K up here towards the top, like Charlie Hoffman, Thomas Peters, Mark Leishman just at 8K, maybe 81, Zach Johnson at like 6,800, Fleetwood, Noren, all these guys, Chappell, all these guys under 8K, Finau, Bubba Watson. So very interesting to see that, along with Rory, Spieth, and Hideki and DJ all like swapping odds randomly. So like DJ was like 10-1. Hideki was like 16-1. Then he won the WGC, swapped with DJ, went to 11-1 while DJ moved to 12, and now they moved to Hideki's back to 12. So, and Ricky's moved all the way up from 18 to 14. Brooks has moved from 25 to 22, which I was going to bet on him. So did Rom. I really wanted to bet him at 25, but I just didn't do it. My Bovada bankroll is pretty low after I bet a lot of money on Floyd. Not that I'm a big fan of Floyd. I'm not at all. I actually hate him, but I like my money, so there's no way McGregor can win, in my opinion. But anyway, let's move on to the next hole here. This is another modified hole. Or is it hole number 4? It's the 4th hole. This one is still the same. Nothing different here. You're gonna have to drive it far as well if you want to. It's a drivable par 4, but you really need to be accurate. About 300-yard drive. Bunkers surround almost all these holes. This is a very tough course in terms of accuracy. If you are not accurate, you are really going to need to have great scrambling, and that's why I put that in my key stats. I will go into that, but just to give you guys what I'm looking at, I'm doing 15% around the green scrambling, 15% par 5 strokes gain, 15% birdie making, 10% strokes gain putting, 15% strokes gain tee to green, 15% proximity from 175 to 200, and then 15% proximity 200 plus. And I will bring that into the proximity stats because after your first drive, your second shot, after your tee shot, your second shot is your most important. The rough isn't that high or isn't that complicated to get through. You'll be able to hit the green, even if you do penalize yourself a little bit with a poor tee shot. If you do have a strong proximity, if you're good from about 200, 225, I'd say. This is a very long course, so that's why I looked obviously at 200 plus. We will talk about that, but all these tee shots, they have to go between about 275 and 320. Obviously, only certain guys can hit it at above 300, and that's why a lot of these guys are being talked up, like JB Holmes, Rory, DJ, of course, who's probably being the least of the top guys, but a bomber nonetheless. So let's get into that hole number 4 here, which used to be the par 5. But let me just read a little bit here. So yeah, they put 4 and 5 together, it looks like, to create wait, sorry. There used to be, excuse me, the hole number 4, or the hole number 5 used to be a huge par 5, and they kind of combine these holes, like in not combine them, but separated them, but in a way almost combined them. So this is now a par 3. I don't recall what it was last year, but pretty much just you need to get onto the green. All par 3s are like that. It should be an easy par, I should say. I mean, it's not going to be. I don't see much trouble coming from this hole. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't scare me. I mean, if you look at the pictures, every single picture, there's bunkers to the left and right of every hole. You're going to get in trouble if you are not hitting the greens, and that's why, again, I mentioned scrambling as a key part I'm looking at. So let's look down at hole number 5. This one is going to be pretty challenging from what I've looked at. So very, 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 very tough due to the bunkers. You're looking at, if you are not hitting the fairway off your tee, off the tee, you are looking at possibly a double bogey just from that. I mean, unless you can sand save like a mug, right? You're not going to do well on this hole. So you're going to need all these drives. This is why I'm looking at bombers, and we'll talk about this later tonight when I can get more research in. Right now, I'm battling this hangover with a terrible headache, but we're looking at minimum 275-yard drive if you want to chase these drivable par fours and eagle these par fives, because scoring is not going to be high this week. It is a major. It is going to be tough. It is not going to, they're not going to run away like they did at the U.S. Open. So we'll definitely see. And if you guys want, you can check some practice. I didn't post the link in the description, but you can watch some guys practice. There are some videos on Twitter, YouTube as well, practice rounds. Rory McIlroy rumored to hit his drive on the range at 365 yards, obviously, which would be the longest out of all the golfers there this week. So the only guy that might be able to compete is Brandon Hagee, and I don't think he's not in the field. Of course not. So let's scroll down one more hole here that's been altered. This is the third completely new hole. Nothing. They didn't really mix too much of it. They took. Sorry, excuse me. I've got a little cotton mouth here, but I don't have anything to drink. But you're gonna need to hit it long and sweet as well. Like Charlie Hoffman, and the funny thing last week during the Bridgestone, a lot of people were talking about it. There was a long par five he was sitting at, and his caddy was telling him, "You got to lay up. You got to lay up. You can't afford to go all out for it." And he said, I don't remember the caddy's name, but he said, "I'm tired of all these second place finishes. I'm going for it." And it was cool. He ended up parring it, didn't get it, but Charlie Hoffman, I mean, going to be chalk again this week. Just playing phenomenal right now. Usually he starts to teeter off towards the end of the season, but he's staying strong. So, and he made me some money during the Masters, so I might be going back to him. I'm not sure yet. We'll talk about that later. So just a little course by course introduction here. I will say that you're starting to see that it is becoming a bomber's course, so to speak. Obviously, golf is very volatile and variance happens. You're going to see guys like, whoa, this guy doesn't hit the ball that far, and how's he contending? Well, if your around the green game is strong, your proximity game is strong, which means your second shots, maybe even third shots, depending on these long par fives and even long par fours. That's going to decide if you're parring, birdieing, or bogey or worse. So this par three, 250 yards, right? That is a long par three. In the first sentence, it's the longest par three at Quail Hollow, probably the longest par three at most courses. So I think the big thing to look at through these, all these holes are pretty much the same after that. If they, from what I read, if they added anything, it was just bunkers and little sand traps. They have cut down a lot of trees. A lot of these trees have been cut down in the last year. There's been about 800 trees cut. So accuracy isn't as important as it was in years past, but with the strength of field being 10 times as strong or as better, or I don't know if that's the correct term there, but being 10 times stronger than what it normally is. These guys that usually contend, like let's take a look here at Wells Fargo past events here, 2016, like James Hahn, who won the event last year. Guys like these guys have to be accurate. James Hahn, Roberto Castro. You're not going to win Andrew Lupe or Loop. You're not going to win this tournament by being erratic and just spraying and hoping to just get there in 3 or 4, especially this year with the bunkers added, the sand traps, also with the fast greens. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but it's raining. It's going to be raining. So boys, the shitstorms are brewing. It should rain Thursday as well. Obviously weather changes on a dime, but it's I don't see a tee time preference as of now. It should be raining all 4 days. I know it just says cloudy right now, but later when we have a better weather prediction, we will bring that up in our video later. So not really much else to say here. I gotta get going to the gym. I just want to make a basic course intro video, so we don't spend too much time doing that during the DK picks, so we can spend more time answering questions about that. Oh, I didn't see that hole number 11 is a new hole. Ooh, my apologies there, guys. So as you can see, this hole was made available, it says here, by tree removal. As I just mentioned, they got rid of a bunch of trees, which allowed them to connect holes to not connect them, but to, well, actually pretty much connect them into one, but vary them a little bit. So trees separated holes, but now with holes 1 and 2 combining 4 and 5, you're looking at less tree lines. It should be easier shots. Yeah, so other than that, these holes are all similar. There aren't many changes. I do want to make this point here from this quick sentence here. The second shot slightly uphill is a 2-tiered green. Just like the first hole, whose back shelf running the width of the putting surface is very hard to hold. So it's exactly like the first hole. If you hit it, the greens are really fast. So if you hit it on the green and it's rolling, there's a very good chance it's rolling off the green and you're looking at a terrible scramble shot. So it's definitely going to be a good week to watch. I think this week should be easier than past weeks, as we have defined course history. Obviously, there are a few holes that are different, but these are world-class golfers mainly. I mean, at least until about 7K and up mainly. So we're looking at guys that I'm going to be using course history from Quail Hollow, aka the Wells Fargo Championship. So I'm not going to use it as an end-all be-all. I never do, but I'm still going to use it. I will also say that hole 16, 17, and 18, I forgot what the name is for it, what they call it, but this is like the Green Mile is what they call it. This is one of the 3 hardest holes in golf, similar to one of the events we were looking at earlier this year that I also forgot it. Long night, guys, long night. But this could in similarity to last week when Charlie Hoffman said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going for it all. I'm trying to win this tournament. I'm not trying to come in second place. I do that all the time. Well, the hole 16, 17, and 18 are going to test that as well. If both guys are sitting at 8 under, or one guy's at 9 under and you're at 7 under, and you're both got 3 holes to go, you're going to see some chances. Like, you're going to see some chances. Like, they're going to take some risks, I should say. One of these is a drivable one if you have the distance. Let me see here real quick. Okay, it's this one. It's 494 yards, but if you can get it in a great tee shot, you're looking at a birdie. You know, eagle, but it almost guaranteed birdie if you can do it. Like guys like world-class golfers, Rory, birdie, guys like that. That's why so many people are going to be on Rory and DJ this week. So that's pretty much what I got there. The main things you need to look at are hole number 11, new hole number 4 and 5 have been altered, and then hole 1 and 2 have been changed. So it's pretty much the front 9 with 1 hole in the back 9 being changed. And that, let me see here. I did have, okay, so here are the, I did want to show you guys this right here. So as I mentioned, the new Bermuda greens, it's not a huge deal. I mean, completely different greens would be like, oh, okay, well, these guys, if you're good on these greens, you're not going to be good on these greens. Well, these guys are out there, have been out there since Monday practicing on these greens, putting. So I'm not going to. Plus, a lot of tournaments are on Bermuda greens. It's not like it's like just the PGA Championship where these guys have never seen Bermuda greens before. So that doesn't mean that big of a deal to me. I just might target guys, European guys that love Bermuda greens, like Louis Oosthuizen, who's like not being talked up very much at all because he's shit the bed the last 2 weeks. But yeah, so thousands of trees removed. I didn't know it was thousands. I knew it was about 600 to 700, but so yeah. So as I mentioned right here, some of these trees were removed to reshape the golf course, allowing 1 and 2 to be combined. Yeah. So this first and second holes, as I mentioned, meshed in a single hole, 540-yard par 4. The fifth hole was changed from a par 5 to a par 4. So the second hole is completely new, par 3. The 11th was given extra bunkering. The second one was built when they combined the first and second into a par 4. They extended about 180 yards for the par 3 behind it. So very good picture. If you're watching live, it's beautiful. Yeah. As I mentioned, yeah, the 11th extra bunkering almost everywhere. You're going to see a lot of differences from past tracks with the bunkers and the toughness overall. The faster track, what he means by that is just faster greens. You're not, if you hit the pin, so to speak, the ball is probably going to roll off the ground. I mean, roll off the green. I don't know why said the ground, but you're going to have trouble keeping the ball in the green unless you are right there. Well, there's some greens that are huge greens, like the hole 16 is like huge green. So you probably won't miss it there, but there are certain holes where the greens are small and you're going to have to be precise. And also, yes, they did this 16 months prior. They knew the PGA Championship was coming, so they started this 16 months ago. That's why they canceled the Wells Fargo in Charlotte and moved it to Wilmington to prepare for this. So, yeah, we will see. And as winners at Quail Hollow, Matt McIlroy, Tiger Woods, Fowler, you're going to see a lot of these guys. Obviously not Tiger, but in heavy ownership. James Hahn won last year. Rory, of course, with the course record at that round 361, ran away from the field, beat second place Patrick Rogers by 7 shots. Webb Simpson, who lives in Charlotte, it's his home course, is going to garner a little ownership. J.B. Holmes won it in 2014. Derek Ernest in 2013. We're getting a little low now because a lot of these young golfers are younger, but Ricky, Rory won 2. So if DFS, that was probably a chalk week right there if they didn't have PGA DFS in 2012. But if they did, Ricky, Rory, and Webb Simpson, I mean, that's his home course. Rory and Ricky are obviously chalk. But anyway, we're getting a little too far there. I don't really like to look past more than 5 years personally, but let's look at 2011 since 2017 is invalid. We got Lucas Glover who won. That just shows he's not a bomber whatsoever. But when it was a par 72, you didn't really need to be a bomber. Now that it is a par 71, we're going to you're going to need to hit the ball far. So let me check the YouTube chat real quick. I know there's only a couple of us in here, but no worries. Yeah, no chat, so it's all right. I am going to cut this here. I will say that the best thing, if you do want to play the Millie Makers, I am joining some MLB satellites for the Millie Makers, the $5 ones, 776 entries. I think they pay out 100. So 1/7 or 17.76 of people will win a ticket. I'm gonna put in 2 different lineups there. And guys, don't forget, everyone's got their status, free contest. So a lot of people are going to be playing golf this week that don't regularly play golf. And if they like their lineup or they're like, wow, I don't want to just play in a free contest because what if my lineup hits? I want to play for a few bucks so I can win, right? So you're going to see that. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got for us. If you any questions in the Facebook VIP, let me know. Weather's going to be an issue. We'll talk about that later in the video tonight with ACP. So, yeah, you guys take care. And if you haven't signed up, hey, Guru, what's going on, man? What's going on, Bagley? Good to see you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. But yeah, I will be here later on the day. I got to go to the gym, get swole a little bit, get some good food in me, and then I'll be back chopping up golf and some MLB. I'm gonna try to get some MLB in before some golf because I need to get my bankroll up. It's only like $75 right now, so I'm gonna get that up. And if anyone has any questions and you're not part of the sweatshop, just sign up at the DFSSweatshop.com. We chop it up in the Facebook group. All sports. I mean, we got League of Legends, all that good stuff. I don't even video games, man. I was like 16 and I was doing that, but I didn't know they were gonna start putting money down. You can gamble on it, so that's cool. We got everything. WNBA, you name it. UFC's got a break for a month, so there won't be any of that. But yeah, guys, any questions, PGA related, anything, I will be in the sweatshop. I got notifications on, so I will see everything. Rain does. Well, it doesn't slow them. It makes it faster, Bagley, 232. The greens will be faster. So the balls should roll off the green if it's not right on the pin, it should roll off the green. It's going to be harder to stick shots right on the pin like you could in recent weeks. But it's weird, though, because the weather I was looking at just yesterday actually had it raining all Thursday as well, like 4 days of straight rain, but now just as cloudy. So tonight, we're going to get into the weather as it'll be literally like 10 hours away from tee off, so we'll have our best weather that we could. So yeah, guys, I'm not going to hold this any longer. Let me find it here. All right, so any questions for me in the sweatshop? Y'all take care, and let's hope those screens are green, boys. And I'll be back later tonight around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time with ACP, and maybe Seth will be able to get in the chat there, but it'll just be me and ACP tonight. So y'all take care. But hey, ACP has won 100K in one contest before, so you guys better pay attention to what he's saying there. So y'all take care, and I'll see you guys later.